webcast is a follow-up to how to obtain the ECE Credential Level 1. It is brought to you from the SIU Center for Workforce Development's Curriculum Revitalization Project and is funded by a grant from the Illinois State Board of Education. I am Linda Walker, Family and Consumer Sciences Facilitator for the Curriculum Revitalization Project. Joining me today is Terry Wilson, a Family and Consumer Sciences teacher from Normal Community West High School in Normal, Illinois. Terry has participated in the Illinois Network of Child Care Resources and Referral Agencies Teacher Training Program and has successfully implemented their materials into her child development class. This organization is referred to by the acronym INCRA in this webcast. Welcome, Terry. Thank you for joining us this morning.
Thanks for having me.
Could you tell me how you found out about the INCRA's teacher training?
Well, a friend of mine was working at INCRA at the time and told me that they were implementing a pilot at a high school in Southern Illinois. And just at that time, I was actually looking to review our curriculum in the child development course. So in that research, I thought, I'll take a look at that. And as I did, I kept thinking, this is exactly what I want my students to know and be able to do, and it will help them to get ready for the next course in our sequence, which is an Educating Young Children preschool type class. One of the things I was able to sell my district on as I was looking through it is that students walked out with a certification that proved their knowledge and their skills according to what the state required.
And that's very important, that the credential is very important today.
It was.
So what does this training consist of?
Well, I spent 2 days at INCRA learning how to implement the curriculum. I spent time networking with other teachers throughout the state and that were also going to implement the program.
And how many teachers were in your training?
I think we were mixed, but I think there was about 20 teachers that were implementing at that time.
And they were all putting this into existing classes?
Some were in the classroom and some were community trainers, but we did have opportunities to work and learn how it would be different for adults who are currently working in the child care setting and high school students who wanted to get into the high schools or into a setting.
I see. And what materials did you receive at that training?
At the training, I got everything I needed to implement the curriculum. Not only did I walk away with a copy of the teacher and a copy of the student manuals, I also had a tote of supplies that I've been able to continue to use at low cost, anything I've needed to replace, but it's everything you need, and it's all in this great bin.
And then do you order new materials?
Right. Our district allows us, we have to order new ones for each student, but the students walk away with this workbook that has all the information that they needed.
That sounds like a fantastic deal. How did you implement these materials into your existing curriculum?
Because we were working on a curriculum revision, it was very easy. As we rewrote the revision, it was very smooth. I was looking at it from the high school perspective, I was a little concerned that, Module 1, Module 2 weren't really the way I felt my students needed the information. When I talked with INCRA, they were very agreeable to let me do what I knew my students needed to do to be successful, and they've been great to work with.
That is great. And I understand that there's a certification that students can gain through this program. Do your students take a certification test?
There is no final certification test. In the community settings, each of the modules has to be completed before before earning that credential. Now, by the same token, I use the tests that are provided in the teacher's manuals, and if the students are doing well on the tests and can prove that they have the knowledge, and I use student attendance to document that they've spent the correct number of hours for the training, once they've met all of those requirements, they're given the paperwork to fill out and apply for the Level 1 credential.
And do you help them with filling out that paperwork?
Absolutely. We do spend a day in class and we go through that. Much of it's now online, so the students, it's not paperwork anymore, but our students are very familiar with technology and that's the way they fill out forms.
Sure, sure. And where is that test administered, or the test for the modules?
I do those actually in my classroom. Our district has implemented where they want us to do all of our testing in a data management system. So we're doing that, and they've converted very easily for our students. I get the data very quickly, and I'm actually able to share those with the other districts in our high school.
Well, that is a neat thing too. Very neat. So is there a cost for this test?
Not to the students at all. Once they have their workbooks, as long as they're in class and they do well on the module testing, they're good to go.
Wonderful. So what is the benefit of obtaining this credential?
Well, what I share with my students is that the Level 1 certification puts them one step ahead of other entry-level applicants. While they're still not professionals and experienced, they do have the basic knowledge that are required to be successful in working in a licensed facility.
And how many of your students have successfully completed the certification?
Well, this is my third year. I completed my third year of providing the Level 1. I guess that approximately 150 to 175 students have been successful and given the paperwork to complete. Not all of them have turned that in. Many of them were wishing to go into a different field and just took child development as a course they were interested in. But the state keeps all of their paperwork on file so that if they decide in 5 years that what the track they're on is not where they want to be, it's all still there for them, and they can go back and get that certification.
Wow, that's a nice thing.
It is
too.
a nice thing.
Yeah. Are these students currently employed in positions related to the early care and education of young children?
Yeah, I do have several students that I know have entered child care fields. Child care, it's a changing field, and so, you know, although I don't know that many of them went in directly out of high school, many of them have come back around into a child care related field.
Good. Now, since you've been through the teacher training and you've implemented this into your classroom, I understand that your students who have earned the Credential 1 can apply for the Gateway Scholarships. Is that correct?
That is, and I've actually had 2 students that have applied and received the scholarships. They're both first-generation college students, and really the financial aspect would probably have helped them out of being, moving into a place where they can earn additional money for their families and provide better care for the children of our communities.
Now, do you have any words of wisdom for teachers who are maybe considering offering the INCRA training so that their students can also get this credential?
It was very easy to implement. It provides an excellent framework for the child development course. Like I said, I was able to rearrange it to best meet the needs of my students. And it allows some flexibility to implement some of the things that I want to do and my students we've traditionally done, and I didn't have to give up everything I had done previously for this new curriculum. So I was able to incorporate and put things together and really make my students ready for, like I said, the next course in our sequence of educating young children. So INCRA has been great and very supportive and is out there to help in whatever I need. So
great. Terry, thank you so much for helping me today in this webcast and sharing how INCRA's ECE Credential Level 1 has been implemented into your classroom, and so that you can best prepare your students for their future in child care. The Illinois State Board of Education supports several family and consumer sciences programs that prepare students for careers that relate to the care, development, and education of young children. Please visit the ISBE website for additional information or assistance in developing a program in your school.